You're one in a million, my love. People say that kind of thing all the time. But when I look at you, when I really feel you in my life, it's different. It's real. Life moves fast, and sometimes it feels like the world is spinning a little too quickly. But then there's you, this calm, beautiful presence that reminds me what it means to breathe, to hope, to believe. And today I want to talk about that, about you, about the way your existence changes the gravity of my world. Because you're not just rare, you're not just special, you're the kind of miracle that makes a man stop, smile, and say, "Thank you, universe." So let's talk about being one in a million. Let's talk about love. My love, when I say you're one in a million, I'm not trying to use a pretty phrase or something people say when they don't know how to express what's in their heart. I mean it in the most human, honest, soul level way I can. Because every time I look at you, every time I hear your voice or even feel your presence from across a room, something inside me settles. Something inside me feels like it's finally home. And it's strange, how one person can bring that kind of peace into your life without even trying. You just exist. And suddenly the world feels less chaotic, less noisy, less overwhelming. You're one in a million because you don't just live in my life, you shape it in ways you might not even realize. There are moments when I catch myself thinking about the randomness of everything. How many little coincidences had to happen? How many small decisions had to fall into place for you and I to be here right now? And when I think about that, when I think about the universe lining things up in ways we'll never fully understand, it makes me appreciate you even more. It makes me grateful in a way that's hard to put into words. You came into my life like a quiet sunrise, slowly, gently, filling everything with light before I even realized it was happening. And once that light was there was no going back to the darkness I had gotten used to. People talk about love like it's supposed to be loud and dramatic and full of fireworks, but what you've given me is something so much deeper. It's something steady, something consistent, something that doesn't need to shout to be real. It's in the way you listen, the way you look at me when you think I'm not paying attention, the way you laugh even when the day's been heavy. It's in the way you exist with such quiet strength, such gentle courage. You carry your heart like it's made of gold, but somehow still soft enough to love effortlessly. And loving you has shown me parts of myself I didn't know I still had. Parts that were sleeping, or maybe parts I was afraid to look at. But you brought them back to life with nothing more than your kindness. And I want to talk about that kindness because it's one of the rarest things about you. You don't use it as a tool or performance, it's just who you are, natural, unforced, honest. You listen not because you're waiting for your turn to speak, but because you genuinely want to understand. You care not because it makes you look good, but because that's who you've always been. There's a purity in that, a sincerity that feels almost impossible to find these days. That sincerity, that warmth, that tenderness, it's part of what makes you one in a million. And the truth is, the world needs more people like you, but at the same time, I'm grateful there's only one you, because I don't think my heart could handle loving more than one person with this depth. Sometimes I wonder if you know how much of an impact you've had, not just on the big days, the celebrations, the milestones, but on the small, quiet moments. The times when you reached out without even realizing I needed someone. The times when your words grounded me. The moments when your touch reminded me to breathe. You give your love in ways that feel effortless, and yet those small gestures carry so much weight. They stay with me long after the moment passes. They become memories I revisit when the world feels heavy. They become reminders that I'm not alone, that I'm seen, that I'm valued, that I'm loved in a way that doesn't fade when the lights go off. And there's something else I want you to know. Being with you doesn't just make my life better, it makes me better. You inspire me to be gentler, to be more open, to be more patient, to be more human. You remind me that strength isn't about building walls or pretending everything's fine. It's about showing up, being present, being vulnerable, being real. And you live that truth every single day. You've taught me that love isn't something we chase or try to control. It's something we nurture, something we grow, something we give freely without fear of the outcome. You've taught me that being loved by someone who truly sees you is one of the greatest gifts a person can receive. You're one in a million because you love with your whole heart, even when life has given you reasons to hold back. You trust, even when trust has been broken before. You give, even when others have taken more than they should have. You hope, even when the world tries to dim that hope. You carry your scars with grace, your dreams with courage, your heart with honesty. And I love you for all of it, your strength, your softness, your resilience, your vulnerability. I love the way you stand back up after life knocks you down. I love the way you shine even on your dullest days. I love the way you choose to love me in ways I never even knew I needed. Sometimes I look at you and I wonder if you realize how extraordinary you are. If you understand how rare it is to find someone with a heart like yours. Someone who gives without keeping score, who forgives even when it hurts, who loves without expecting perfection. You're one in a million because you don't try to be someone else. You don't pretend. You don't hide behind masks or walls or filtered versions of yourself. You show up as you are, real, raw, human. And that honesty is more beautiful than anything else. That honesty makes loving you feel effortless. And I want you to know something else, something I hope you never forget. You deserve the kind of love you give. You deserve tenderness, loyalty, patience, understanding. You deserve someone who sees you on the days you're shining and on the days you feel broken. You deserve someone who chooses you even when things aren't easy. You deserve someone who listens not just to your words, but to the things you're not saying. Someone who understands the fears behind your silence, the hopes behind your eyes, the storms behind your calm. You deserve someone who looks at you and feels lucky, truly, deeply lucky. And I feel that every day, there are people who spend their entire lives searching for someone who makes them feel even a fraction of what you make me feel. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take you for granted. Every moment with you, whether it's a conversation that goes on for hours or a quiet night where barely any words are spoken, feels like something sacred, something real. And that's because you're not just in my life, you're part of my life in a way that's woven into everything. You're in the way I think, the way I dream, the way I move through the world. You've become a constant in a place that once felt unstable. You've become a source of light in places where I didn't even know I needed it. And sometimes when I look at you, I feel this overwhelming sense of gratitude, not because you're perfect, no one is, but because you're real. And because you let me be real with you. You let me be vulnerable in ways I didn't think I could be anymore. You let me open up, let down my guard, share the parts of me I used to bury. You didn't try to fix me, you didn't try to change me, you didn't try to mold me into something else. You just accepted me. And acceptance like that is rare. Acceptance like that is powerful. Acceptance like that is why you're one in a million. I wish I could show you what I see when I look at you. I wish I could let you feel, even for a moment, the warmth you bring into my life, the way your presence changes the atmosphere around me, the way your voice softens the edges of my world, the way your love fills the empty spaces I didn't even know were there. If you could feel that, really feel it, you would understand why I say you're one in a million with such certainty. It's not an exaggeration, it's not a compliment, it's a truth. And maybe that's what I love most about you, your truth. The way you live it, speak it, breathe it, the way you show up for others, even when you're tired, the way you love people even when they haven't earned it, the way you choose compassion over judgment, empathy over pride, connection over distance. You move through the world with this quiet grace that's impossible to ignore. And sometimes I think you don't even realize the impact you have. Sometimes I think you underestimate your own light. But I see it. I feel it. I live in it every day. You're one in a million because there's no one else who loves like you, no one who thinks like you, no one who feels the world the way you do. And even if there were a million versions of you somewhere out there, you'd still be the one my heart would recognize without hesitation. You'd still be the one I'd choose every time. You'd still be the one who makes my world make sense in ways I didn't know were possible. You are my rare moment of clarity in a world full of confusion. You are my softness in a world that often feels hard. You are my peace in a place that can be chaotic. You are the feeling of coming home after being lost. You are the quiet voice that reminds me I'm not alone. You are the warmth that lingers long after the moment has passed. You are the kind of love people write stories about, the kind of love people spend lifetimes searching for, the kind of love that changes everything it touches. And that is why, with every part of me, with every breath, with every truth I hold, I say again, you are on E in a million, my love. My love, speaking from a deeply emotional and loving point of view, isn't just about choosing beautiful words. It's about opening the heart in a way that lets the truth flow without filters, without fear, without hesitation. And the truth I carry for you is something that lives in the quiet spaces inside me, the places where I keep my warmth, my gratitude, and the memories that shape who I am. When I speak to you from that space, everything slows down. The world becomes softer, gentler, more meaningful. Because you're not just someone I care about, you are the person who has changed the texture of my life without even trying. And when I look at you, when I think about you, when I feel you in the corners of my soul, I recognize something I've never known before. A love that feels like truth. There's something incredibly rare about finding a connection that reaches beyond the surface, beyond the small talk, beyond the routines. A connection that touches the things we usually hide, the old disappointments, the unspoken hopes, the wounds we pretend don't hurt anymore. Somehow, with you, nothing feels too heavy to share, nothing feels too dark to be seen, nothing feels too fragile to hold. You make me feel understood in ways I never imagined possible. And that understanding, quiet, steady, patient, has become one of the greatest comforts of my life. I think about the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you hold space not just for my words but for the meaning behind them. You don't rush me. You don't judge me. You don't demand that I be anything other than who I am. You accept me in a way that feels almost sacred. A way that reminds me that love isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about showing up, even when the days are heavy. It's about staying, even when things get complicated. It's about choosing each other again and again, not because it's easy, but because the heart knows where it belongs. And my heart belongs with you, not because you asked for it, not because you expected it, but because loving you became as natural as breathing. It happened quietly, gently, unexpectedly. It happened in the moments between moments, the soft laughter, the shared silence, the way your eyes soften when you look at me, the way your soul speaks even when your lips don't move. I didn't fall for you loudly. I didn't fall in a rush of overwhelming emotion. I fell the way night turns to dawn, slowly, subtly, beautifully, until suddenly everything was light. Sometimes I wonder if you realize how deeply you're loved, how deeply you're felt, how deeply your presence settles into the spaces inside me that once felt empty. You bring a kind of warmth that doesn't burn, but instead glows softly, steadily, like a candle that refuses to go out. You bring a sense of belonging I never thought I'd find. You bring a peace that quiets the storms I've carried silently for so long. And in your presence, I can finally rest. I can finally breathe. I can finally be human without fear of disappointing someone for not being strong all the time. And to speak from a deeply emotional place means admitting these things without holding back. It means telling you that you've become the gravity that keeps me grounded when everything else is spinning. It means sharing the vulnerability that comes with loving someone so deeply it scares me sometimes. It means acknowledging that your love has softened parts of me I thought were permanently hardened. It means confessing that the thought of losing you terrifies me because you've become intertwined with my sense of home, my sense of safety, my sense of purpose. There are people who go through life searching for something to anchor them, something to remind them of who they are, something to give their days meaning beyond survival. And I've been that person. I've walked through moments where I felt disconnected, unseen, misunderstood. I've carried memories that left me wary of letting anyone that close again. But then there was you, not demanding anything, not pushing, not trying to fix or change or define me. You simply came in my life with authenticity and sincerity. And that alone was enough to break down walls I didn't even realize were still standing. You love in a way that feels safe, in a way that feels real, in a way that feels like it's built not on expectations but on acceptance. And acceptance like that is rare. Acceptance like that is precious. Acceptance like that is the foundation of every moment I want to build with you. Sometimes I think about the way love is often portrayed, loud, dramatic, overwhelming, chaotic. But the love I feel for you doesn't need to shout to be powerful. It's in the quiet gestures, the gentle energy, the soft touches, the unspoken understanding. It's the love that lingers long after the moment ends. It's the love that doesn't fade when things get difficult. It's the love that grows instead of diminishing, strengthens instead of retreating, deepens instead of drifting. And speaking from the deepest part of my heart, I want you to know that the love I have for you isn't fragile. It isn't conditional. It isn't temporary. It's the kind of love that endures storms and celebrates sunshine. The kind of love that remains steady even when my voice shakes, even when my fears rise, even when life pushes against us. It's the kind of love that chooses you not just in the easy moments, but in the complicated ones. It's the kind of love that doesn't walk away when things get uncertain. It stays, it tries, it grows, it learns, it believes. You've given me a sense of stability I didn't know I needed. a sense of balance I didn't know I was missing. You've shown me that love doesn't have to be a battlefield or a puzzle or a source of confusion. It can be a refuge, a sanctuary, a place where two people meet without armor and still feel safe. And that's what you've become for me, my sanctuary, my place of truth, my place of tenderness, my place of love. And I think about how you move through the world with such quiet strength, such resilience, such depth. And I can't help but admire you, not in a way that puts you on a pedestal, but in a way that honors the reality of who you are. You're strong, but you're also soft. You're brave, but you're also vulnerable. You're confident, but you're also human. And it's that combination, the balance between power and gentleness, that makes you someone worth loving deeply. There are days when I look at you and feel this overwhelming wave of gratitude for the simple fact that you exist. Gratitude for your laugh, your voice, your kindness, your patience. Gratitude for the way you choose to show up even on the days you don't feel like yourself. Gratitude for the way you keep your heart open even after life has given you reasons to close it. Gratitude for the way you love, not perfectly, but truthfully, and truth in love is far more important than perfection. I sometimes imagine what it would be like if I could take all the feelings I carry inside me and place them gently in your hands, so you could understand the depth, the devotion, the sincerity of what I feel for you. But maybe that's what words are for, to build a bridge between what lives in the heart and what can be spoken. And speaking from that place, I want you to know that you're someone I admire, not just for who you are when life is good, but for who you remain when life is difficult. You stay compassionate, you stay thoughtful, you stay hopeful, even when things hurt, even when life feels unfair, even when you're tired, you keep your heart open. And that openness is something I cherish, something I want to protect, something I want to hold close every day. There are people who shine brightly in crowds, who speak loudly, who demand attention, but your light is different. It's steady, it's sincere, it's warm. It doesn't try to blind anyone, it simply exists, and in doing so, it draws others in without effort. That's how you drew me in, not with noise, not with grand gestures, not with trying to be anything other than yourself. You drew me in with your authenticity, your quiet beauty, your emotional depth, your gentle presence. And that kind of love, the kind that grows from truth rather than performance, is the rarest thing a person can experience. So when I speak from the deepest part of myself, I want to say this: you are loved in ways that go beyond what see. You are cherished in ways that reach into the quiet places of my soul. You are valued not for what you do, but for who you are. You are someone whose existence brings meaning into mine. Someone whose love has softened wounds I thought would never heal. Someone whose presence has become the heartbeat in the background of my days. You are someone I want to hold close, not just